This is the E-commerce Brain Trust, a podcast about building momentum online for established consumer brands. Join our hosts and their expert guests for high-level conversations about e-commerce strategies, trends, and innovations. Access our brain trust and boost your brand's e-commerce potential.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of our monthly retail roundup, where we recap all the key retail industry news from the past month. And as usual, we've got our trusty group, Armin for all things operational, and Ross for all things media, and my co-host, Jordan, at the wheel as well. So
for the DJ noises.
We got to work on that. Now that the gang's all here, we definitely have a lot to dig into with all the news coming out of Accelerate in September. More news around AMC and just a whole cornucopia.
That's a seasonal image.
Exactly. It's very fall.
It's seasonal.
I'm following the SEO seasonality trends here. The whole cornucopia of operational and merchandising updates. And of course, as we go through, we will score everything to our hypometer. That's what I'm going to call it. It's no longer a hypometer. For me, it's a hypometer. All right, so let's dig in. We're going to start with some of the updates that came out of Amazon Accelerate, and there's a lot. I'm going to list a few out, and then we're going to kind of choose our own adventure from there. One of them is the end of commingled inventory. We have the debut of AI-powered agentic assistance within Seller Central, and a whole variety of new seller and vendor report overhauls. What might be most notable in those is the rollout of a native profit analytics report within Seller Central directly. So we have a lot. Ross, Armin, choose your adventure. What product announcement kind of felt the most meaningful for each of you?
Yeah, I can start. So personally, agentic, right? We have to be excited about it.
It's required.
I do think it is a requirement.
The agents demand it.
Yeah. So I am excited about this one, but honestly, I feel we need to give it a bit more time. It's exciting. This is moving on from just a passive resource to a real assistant that can actually complete some tasks for you. But at the same time, I'm super scared of, do I really want to fully rely on AI when it comes to my product compliance, for example, just submit my papers and be done with it? I don't think so. So it's very early days, but I did some just checking in how this looks in Seller Central and how responsive the chatbot is. It's smart. I'll give it a few months, play with other folks, not me, and then I'll come back for this one specifically. And then I am also happy about the commingling. I think this one was, as if people are telling the story right, everybody was super, super happy at the Accelerate when this change was announced. And just to give our listeners some context, how commingled inventory worked is that if you're not using the Amazon barcode and you ship your inventory to Amazon using the standard UPC, basically whatever a customer orders, whatever's closest to kind of just pick and pack, that would be grabbed and sent to the customer. Inventory that some other reseller sent could be grabbed and the sale would go to you as a brand, but it's still inventory somebody else actually sent to FBA. This caused a lot of issues like negative reviews, customer experience was just bad with some, even non-genuine fake products. And there was Wild West there. So what's happening now is that Amazon is moving away from this, and they'll be, I don't know what the approach will be. Will the requirement be to actually have all the F and SKU stickers on everything? We still don't know, but they are moving away from this. And I would say they are prioritizing the relationship with the brand more. It's okay, resellers, we like you, but brands are actually the ones that take priority. And we want their product, their inventory for the most part. And then this also ties to another update. I think they did it early August, where they said we will not be stickering anymore. So it's they are not doing prep for sellers anymore. And then another interesting statement from the Accelerate was Amazon spent $600 million on stickering last year. That's a lot of stickers. And obviously that's a huge bottleneck for their logistics. Yeah. So I think while this benefits brands a lot, where, okay, I have my inventory, I'm protected in a way, it's also going to help Amazon a lot more with just getting less returns, less negative customer feedback, and things like that.
I think you gave us the title for this episode, Armin, with "That's a lot of stickers."
That's a lot.
It's my house with young kids. I actually read this argument as like that was the brand owner. That was their estimate of the brand owner's amount of time spent stickering. So I think, at least in my reading of this, is that Amazon, like you will not have to sticker to end commingling. So like this is a huge advancement in their fulfillment network to allow for that control without the required additional stickering. So that's huge.
Yeah, and also like if you go back like why they did it before the national logistics that they switched, is that it was just easier to ship faster. We were like what you have closest, you just ship it. Now with the regional shift to logistics, they have inventory across the country.
Yeah. I love that all of the like agentic AI stuff is clearly what Amazon wanted to talk about. And then like all of a sudden was like, no more commingling. This is amazing. It's like the most in the weeds uptake on all the excitement.
So how would you rank these hypometer wise?
Hypometer, so agentic, I'll give it a 10 because it's really exciting. As I said, like I need to give it time to prove itself. Commingling, I would give it a 9 because it really matters for brands a lot. And then we also didn't touch on the profit analytics. This one, it's nothing new. If you look at it from we've had third-party tools for this for a very long time now. And now we just have the dashboards in Seller Central. But what I did like is the thing that they call scenario modeling, where you can actually kind of set up different parameters and change them to see how this would actually impact your business. So things like if I change prices, if I do different allocation of inventory, spend, inventory shipments, all of that. Right now, it's actually an upsell machine only because it only offers AWD. And if you get SIP certified, ships and on-product packaging, you will get an estimate of what that means to your business. So it's kind of like, let's sell this to brands, and then they promise that they will add all these other features in the future.
Yeah.
So I thought that was
an 8, 9, 10. Oh, accelerator really ranking high.
We're setting it up for Ross, who likes to come right in at the middle of 7.
Yeah. Let's, on that note, Ross, let's throw you a bone. Armin took up all the hype air in the room from Accelerate. Moving beyond Accelerate itself, I think the other big announcement that we really saw ripple across LinkedIn and just the industry generally, something that I think we felt was inevitable, just seeing how AMC was like percolating throughout all the various ad ecosystem. But this was really a line in the sand of like, okay, AMC for all, right, is what we've been hearing this called. And I can access this directly in the ad console. I don't need to go through a rep. I don't need to have a DSP entity. I can just go in there and start analyzing and building audiences. So I'm curious, like, what do you see as the practical application for the brands that you manage? What do you see in terms of like the shift in the industry generally? Like, what's your take on this update?
Well, the first thing I'll share is like a very practical logistical one, is that because these AMC for all instances are controlled by an Amazon AMC entity, they cannot be connected to, at least at this point, we haven't found a way to connect them to third-party software. If you are a brand that wants to leverage some really cool software, or you're an agency that's currently using software like PackView, for example, to get AMC insights or to manage AMC audiences, you can't connect that to these AMC for all AMC, because the architecture, at least at the moment, the account architecture is closed to third-party services. That makes sense in a way because you need to grant like API access and user access, and Amazon is like not in a place where they're like they have a mechanism for doing this yet. But that's like one logistical thing. So for us, for our brands, my immediate thought was like, great, we can start going out and creating AMC audiences and doing sponsored analyses with our current processes. And we can't connect it to our software. So we're still needing to go through the process of creating a separate AMC instance. That's sort of agency level.
That's our pain. Yeah.
For the general Amazon user, it's honestly very, very good. We knew that this was coming in some way, shape, or form. They've actually improved the AMC UI a ton in the last 6 months. So now it's the workflow to create audiences, the workflow to see insights, the UI for creating queries has all been improved massively. The barriers to entry from a technical standpoint have probably never been lower. And in addition, there's AI features automatically built in. So you can ask plain language questions and get audiences created for you with 50 to 70% success rate, depending on how good you are at writing the query.
I don't know. That's a low bar there.
Didn't need a human and you didn't need training. That's pretty good.
Early days of AMC, we might have still taken that success rate.
It is a boon because a lot of the off-the-shelf audiences are good to go, especially for upcoming fall Prime Day. So to go out, I would tell any brand, go into your AMC account, create add to cart audiences or cart abandonment audiences for your brand and apply those to some of your sponsored product accounts. So you can start to bid up on people that have added to cart but haven't purchased yet, because that's one of our most valuable pieces of one of the best low-hanging fruit options for tentpole events. So that would be one of the first things I would say. Make sure if you're doing anything with AMC for upcoming fall Prime Day.
Well, Armin, let's bring it back to you. That's enough from Ross for now. There have been a couple updates related to merchandising and overall management of assortment as well. And ultimately, they're aimed at increasing average order value and customer lifetime value for the loyal customers. First of these is the increased max of possible seller funded for subscribe and save. It used to be 15% and it's been increased to 20%. And then the second is the introduction of virtual multi-packs. So if a customer wants to order more than a single unit, this is the answer to that. What is your take on these and how valuable they'll ultimately be for brands?
Yeah, I think that the subscribe and save increase from 15 to 20% maximum is actually one of Amazon's responses to the troubling economy that we are seeing right now. We are already noticing trends of shoppers trading down after the tariff changes and all of that. And there's just everybody's trying to save more. So this is another way for Amazon to retain shoppers. While years and years again, Amazon is kind of squeezing the margins for sellers and now kind of giving them a carrot as well, because, okay, if you want to retain, this is what you need to do next. What many people don't see is actually the fact that how much cost saving this is for Amazon. Because imagine an order comes in for 5 items at once. It's not a single item that's being shipped. Amazon consolidates that into single basket and ships. It's one cost to ship, right? And that's a great kind of profitability move from their side, while at the same time they're getting the funding from the sellers and then vendors as well. If we look at vendor side, this update was not for them. But what I foresee happening is that the vendor managers will now be approaching vendors saying, hey, now we can have 20% discounts if customers decide to have 5 items in their basket to repeat purchase. And then they'll ask for additional funding. So you fund it, but then they're kind of selling it as this is a benefit for your customers. You'll have more volume. But at the bottom line, it's actually a profitability play for Amazon because they are saving money by shipping more items in a single order.
So what I'm hearing there is an opening for when this becomes a 1P conversation for vendors to have it as a point of negotiation in AVNs.
Exactly. So how much is this actually driving my sales versus your bottom line?
Your profit. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's I totally get it's a win for Amazon, especially on subscription. It's all seller funded. So they're not putting up any money. If I go to 20% on this, that's all on me as the seller. But I also think that if I'm a brand and I know I can convert loyal customers and I have a good understanding of their LTV, this is a win for me because I'm not required to go to 20%. But if I have the margin to sustain that and I know I can keep that customer over a long enough time period, I can outperform others in the market. So to me, this seems like a potential good lever on both sides.
For sure. Yeah, especially if your margins are good, this can be a very good move. And then the second was the virtual multi-packs. I feel like this actually relates to the subscribe and save changes we just talked about because, again, we are getting to that order consolidation and basket building move. This also addresses the issue of the low ASP items that are on the rise in terms of shopping behavior. So they are logistically unprofitable, right? When you see an item, $4, $5 bag of chips on Amazon, there's no way anybody's making money on that, right? If you create a multi-pack of 3, 4, 5 of those as a virtual bundle and the customer actually buys more, this is again, because the logistics of shipping is what's expensive. It's not the product itself. Again, it's kind of going back to potentially something that brands wanted and vendors especially, the co-packing experience with Amazon. So this kind of gives that, you have a case of 20 items inside, you ship it to Amazon, they break the case, and then you have a virtual bundle that sells 5 items from that case, great. You don't pay the co-packing because that's a very expensive venture to do. And then what's the kind of second part of this update is you can actually now have that virtual bundle as part of the variation on the main product. Before, it was just a separate virtual bundle, standalone, very little visibility on it. And if you now put it in the variation with the existing products, it's actually getting much, much more visibility. And people, as they come to the main product, they'll kind of browse and find the other options there. And just to go back on to vendor again, one experience that I've had with AVS and a vendor I work with is they've been able to create these virtual bundles and put them in variations for more than a year now. So it's been a test behind the scenes. And what we even did was like, if you have a crapped out item, you create a virtual bundle, a 2-pack, for example, put it in the variation, and you actually take advertising to the 2-pack. And then if the customer wants to choose the single pack, fine. But you're kind of like, avoiding that crap out issue and eligibility for advertising as well.
I thought the other interesting thing here is that this is something that's done passively by Amazon with no input of the brand. At least it's my understanding. It's like they will see what are being bought in multiple units together and automatically create a virtual multi-pack added into the parent. So it's completely hands-off from the brand's perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting. Cool. Ross, headed back to you. The other thing that got a lot of buzz recently, creator connections, something that's been around for years at this point, but a huge update to the program in terms of how it functions, which is traditionally this was a really like a referral kind of affiliate-based system, right? Where you would work with the creator. Then if people purchase through that creator, they would get compensated through a rev share model. Now we're seeing the possibility to have sponsored creator connections where you pay some money up front for that creator relationship. This seems like a huge departure. It's being treated like a huge departure. Like, what's your take on the relative appeal and sort of motivations behind this?
Well, I think there's a lot of appeal to it, for one, because I think the idea that Amazon is accelerating its use of the like creator economy, not just creators. This program is actually also associated with publishers too, that I thought was really interesting. So like, candidly, I need to do a little bit more research about that. But I think there's like more incentive now for more creators, publishers to participate in Amazon's network. And there definitely needed to be more diversity there because I think a lot of our clients had found that there wasn't like a very large marketplace for creators here. Amazon increasing the breadth of this product, that gives brands more options. It also probably increases the quality of creators, hopefully, that are there as well, because there's more incentive for them to join in. Better creators, what is the metric? Creators with more of a following that will have more of an impact is like what I think that's a stand-in for in my logic. But there are some other interesting factors to this. So like Acadia has one of our BUs is really leaned into creators and creator marketing and influencer marketing. And one of the important points for them is like picking the right influencers, but then also like having good agreements so that it's really clear what the brand is getting and then also assuring that the brand owns the content. One downside to this announcement that I saw is that the brand gets 90-day rights to the content. So they don't own in perpetuity for their own use content that creators put out there. And I think that that's one downside to the platform, but maybe like a requirement to scaling at this stage. I think for a lot of brands that don't have the muscle of interacting with creators, don't have the experience or don't have the headcount or don't have an agency to help them connect with creators, this will be a way to like help them test into it more often and like maybe get some of that TikTok effect that they might have been reading so much about. I think a lot of our brands are going to be testing more into this now with the update to this program.
Yeah, my theory is it opens up the top end of the market, right? Influencers, I would say, are kind of mid to upper funnel. Like it's rare that you see an influencer, you buy immediately a direct conversion. And that's like the affiliate model was contingent on that. The proxy would be like, if I can only pay for DSP on a rev share, like that's going to cut into the amount of DSP I can spend. But now that I can pay in advance, I know it's a brand awareness play very clearly in the marketing materials around this. Amazon's like, this is a long-term play, like invest more. So I think from that, it'll open up a lot more budget of the sort of brand awareness components.
Yeah, I think so too. So for me, it falls into an interesting realm. I was like, well, this is not paid media. Is this like a paid or is this like kind of an organic? Like, where does this live in a budget line? Is this a marketing expense or is this like part of the sales budget? Those are interesting conversations. And like, that's very, I would say, emblematic of the Amazon experience overall, that like, this is something that the e-commerce and sales team is going to want to leverage. The marketing team would traditionally own this. So like, who's going to get involved here? Who's going to drive this part of the ship? Who's going to fund it and pay for it are some of the challenges that brands are going to have initially. I would say just get in there and test.
Yeah. Just put the money in.
It's just another way that Amazon is bringing all sides together, breaking down those silos.
Yeah. One platform to rule them all.
Yes. How would you hype it? What would your measure be?
I haven't had the experience yet, but I'm going to give this one a 9.
Oh,
unexpected.
Creator connections has been the idea of, we've known for a really long time that external traffic is the key to success on Amazon for a lot of our mid-sized brands that are like already pretty mature. So you need external traffic in order to like not compete or be in ROAS jail and you're like having trouble scaling with search. Other tools in this vein are very, very valuable. And for Amazon to put more resources behind it and to like broaden the top of the funnel and to like improve the incentive structure, I think it could be a very big piece of strategy going forward.
And direct attribution, right? Challenging with influence.
That's right. Totally solves that attribution question for them.
Well, let's wrap today's roundup with, I think, the sexiest, most exciting part of it all. Supply chain and inventory. So this is coming back.
Cue the slow jazz.
We did see a few updates relative to supply chain and inventory in the past month. Some of them include Amazon's overhaul to the way that they approach liquidations and also the ability for sellers to issue partial refunds. Then we also saw some more of Amazon pushing their fulfillment network into other channels. Notably, this past month, learned that you could use multi-channel fulfillment, directly integrating it with Shopify and Shein, in addition to Walmart, which they announced previously. I lost my sense of time. I don't remember when that announced. Armin, can you take us through your take on these updates?
Yes, super, super hot updates. Like the dashboards are melting on Seller Central from these.
Oh my gosh, there's another possible title for this episode.
Dashboards are melting.
The FBA liquidations and donations program changes. I mean, nothing sexy here. I would say it's actually one of Amazon's kind of curveballs where they make a new default option. So if you're not careful enough, your settings might end up doing something else you didn't intend them to do. This one here is basically switching to default, where if you have excess or aging inventory, it will be liquidated automatically. So you really want to be careful and configure your automated unfulfillable or fulfillable settings in Seller Central. And you can opt out. That by default you're in, but you can opt out through the settings. And the other one, which is no opt-out, and it's a mandatory thing to do, is the donations program. If you have eligible products, they will be donated instead of recycled moving forward, which, again, not a huge change, I would say. I would more worry about the liquidations because sometimes these can return back and kind of cause issues with buy box pricing and all of that. But luckily, we can turn it off. The other one was partial refunds. This one, it's fine, but at the same time, I'm slightly worried of enabling this automatically just because the setting is, okay, if I have a return that I really don't want the physical return to happen, but I still want to refund my customer, I can set up a percentage of my list price and just issue that refund. But then I worry how much Amazon customer service reps will default to this. There's a complaint, oh, here's your money back. I'd rather manage this as a brand myself. And then if I need to give a discount or a refund or ship another replacement, that's fine, but I wouldn't automate it. And the last one, MCF expanding to other channels. This one, I feel like as Walmart bent the knee, everybody is following.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I think this will just keep growing, this list, and there's no stopping this. But what I actually liked is a separate update where Amazon has updated their MCF dashboards. So now you can actually have insights into, okay, these are the products I have enrolled. This is how much they're moving. You kind of see if you have connected 5-6 channels to this, you can actually see what's going on. And like you don't have to track individual on a channel level. So yeah, go Amazon.
That one made sense. If Walmart bends the knee, as you said, they have a fulfillment network. Shopify has had their fulfillment network that has been playing from day one. So the fact that they got on board, like this logically tracks.
Well, as usual, we covered a lot of topics. There was a lot of hype, a lot of stickers.
About building dashboards.
The cornucopia is overflowing. So thank you both for coming on, and we'll have you back at the end of next month to talk through updates for October. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.